For graphs also we have two representations, that is adjacency matrix and adjacency list, right? So by looking at this particular point, adjacency matrix, you can understand that you are going to represent a graph in the form of a matrix, and they are nothing but adjacent. Therefore you will represent a matrix which are adjacent to each other. Adjacent means, for example, you take two nodes A and B, and if they have a direct edge, from A to B, then A is said to be adjacent to B and B is said to be adjacent to A. Therefore, why? Because it is an undirected graph. Therefore, whenever there is a direct edge between A and B or between two nodes, then we call that the two nodes are adjacent to each other. So all these adjacent nodes will be represented in the form of a matrix, which is a very simple representation. If you know the concept of matrices, then it is very easy, and we'll discuss some of the important concepts like how to find the in degree and out degree, or how to find the degree of a node in the given undirected graph, or how to find the in degree and out degree of a node in the directed graph. And after that we'll discuss some of the important points regarding the adjacency matrix, and then we'll quickly move into the adjacency lists. We know that you can understand by this point that you are going to represent the graph using lists. Lists are nothing but linked lists, right? So we are going to represent the graphs using linked lists, and the same concept lies here also. So you are going to represent the graph using linked lists which are adjacent to each other. That's the concept of graphs, where there are two methods for representing the graphs. One is the adjacency matrix and the another one is the adjacency list. So coming to adjacency matrix, let G is equal to V comma E. This is what we represented, how we represent the graph. This we have discussed in the yesterday's session. G is equal to V comma E, where V is vertex set and E is edge set, right? So let G comma is equal to V comma E be a graph with n vertices. The adjacency matrix of G is a two-dimensional n by n matrix. This is very important. Therefore, whenever you discuss about the concept of matrix, and whenever you want to represent it in the C programming language, you have to go for a two-dimensional matrix or n by n matrix, right? There's nothing but an n by n array. So you are going to represent a graph G with n vertices with an n by n matrix, where n is the number of nodes. For example, you have 3 nodes in a graph, then you have to represent the adjacency matrix with a 3 by 3 matrix. Similarly, if you have 10 nodes in a graph, then you have to represent the adjacency matrix with a 10 by 10 matrix. This is what he is saying. And if the edge Vi comma Vj, Vi is the source vertex and Vj is the destination vertex. If the edge Vi comma Vj is in the E of G, then adjacency matrix of I comma J, that means this is the source index, source vertex index, and this is the destination vertex index. So we represent it with 1, and if there is no such edge in E of G, that is nothing but edge set of G, we represent I comma J in the adjacency matrix with a symbol 0. Therefore it is nothing but, it all consists of ones and zeros. We'll see with an example. Next, the adjacency matrix for a undirected graph is symmetric in nature. Symmetric means the diagonal elements, the elements that are present on the upper triangle and the elements that are present in the lower triangle are equal along the diagonal. Similarly, the adjacency matrix for a digraph need not be symmetric. It can be symmetric, but it is not mandatory that it should be symmetric, right? This is one important point you have to remember. The adjacency matrix of a given graph, of a undirected graph, is always symmetric in nature, but the adjacency matrix of a directed graph may not be symmetric, right? After that, let me take one example here, 3 examples, and let me draw this adjacency matrix, right? First of all, whenever you are given a problem like this, you have to, let me start with this G1. this graph G1, right? Whenever you are asked to find the adjacency matrix of G1, you have to find the number of nodes in the given graph. Here we have 0, 1, 2 and 3, we have n is equal to 4. As we discussed in the previous slide, if we have n number of nodes, then you have to give the adjacency matrix as a n by n matrix, right? So here n is equal to 4, therefore you can represent this graph G1 using a 4 by 4 matrix. So you take a 4 by 4 matrix like this, and you have to give the name of the vertices in the rows. So this is vertex 0 and this is vertex 1, vertex 2 and vertex 3. Similarly, the same number of columns exist. Therefore, 0th vertex, 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Therefore, this particular element corresponds to 0, 0. If we have an edge from 0, 0, then it is represented with 1. For example, if you take vertex 0, we start our discussion with vertex 0, right? 0 is having a vertex to 1 and 0 is having a vertex to 2 and similarly 0 is having a vertex to 3. Therefore, there are 3 vertices that are going out of vertex 0. So what you have to do is, whenever there is a direct edge to the other vertices, then we have to represent it with a value of 1. When there is no direct edge, then there is no need to represent it with 1. You have to represent it with 0. Therefore, if there is an edge between Vi comma Vj, you represent it with a 1 value, and if there is no edge between Vi and Vj, you represent it with a value called 0. Therefore, 0, 0, we don't have any edge, therefore it is represented with 0. And 0, 1, we have an edge, therefore you represent it with 1. 0, 2, we have a value of 1. 0, 3, we have a value of 1. So we are now done with our 0th vertex. Now you go for the second vertex, that is 1. Right? Again, 1 is having a direct edge. 1 is having a direct edge to 0. Similarly, it is having direct edge to 2 and 3. But it does not have an edge from 1 to 1. Therefore, 1 to 0 is 1, 1 to 1 is 0, 1 to 2 is 1, 1 to 3 is 1. After completing this, go for vertex 2, vertex node number 2. We have a vertex, or we have an edge from 2 to 0, 2 to 1 is there, 2 to 3 is there. Therefore, what you will do, 2 to 0 is 1, 2 to 1 is again 1, and 2 to 2 is 0, and 2 to 3 is 1. After completing with node 2, let us move to the node 3. 3 is having vertices to 0, 1 and 2. Therefore, 3, 0 is 1, 3, 1 is 1, 3, 2 is 1. You have the first thing represents the row, right? Therefore, you have to go in this way. This is rows. I think you all are very well aware of these particular concepts. This is columns, right? So 3, 3 is 0. Now you can observe here that this is the resultant graph, resultant adjacency matrix which we have represented. You can observe that the diagonal elements are 0. It may not be the case in all the situations, right? If you have a loop like this, then 1, 1 becomes 1. But here we don't have it. Therefore, what you will do is, you represent it with 0. If you observe these diagonal elements, the diagonal elements are 0, and this particular thing, this is the triangle, and this is one more triangle. So both of them are equal. Therefore, this is called as a symmetric matrix. Next, coming to the second example, G2. This is a directed graph. You should be very careful. The process is same. First, you find the number of vertices n. We have the number of vertices as 3, right? 0, 1, 2. Therefore, the total is 3. Therefore, we represent it with a 3 by 3 matrix. And you draw a 3 by 3 matrix like this. And the rows should be labeled with the same labels of nodes, that is 0, 1 and 2. Similarly, the column numbers should also be equal to the node labels, right? So after that, you start with 0. You start with the first vertex 0. 0, it doesn't have any loop, therefore 0, 0 is 0. 0 is having a direct edge. You should be very careful with the directed edge. It is having an edge only to 1, right? So what happens? 0, 1 is represented with 1, but it does not have a direct edge from 0 to 2. It is having a path. You can go to 2, it's not a problem. That is, it is having a path. You can go via 1. You have to traverse 0, 1 and then you have to go to 1, 2, right? That's not a big issue, but here you have to find only the direct edges, right? 0 is not having any direct edge to 2, therefore it is represented with a 0. Similarly, when you go for 1, 1 is having a direct edge to 0 as well as a direct edge to 2. Therefore, 1, 0 is 1, 1, 1 is 0 and 1, 2 is 1. Similarly, for the last vertex 2, 2 is having an incoming vertex, incoming edge, but it is not having any outgoing edges. Therefore, it does not have any direct edges to the other vertices. Therefore, all the elements remains 0. This is what we have obtained, right? And since it is a directed graph, you can observe that the diagonal elements are 0, but this is not the case all the time. You can have a path like this also, or you can have a edge like this also. It's not an issue, but since we don't have it, let me proceed it further. Then we can observe that the elements in the lower triangle is not equal to the elements in the upper triangle, right? Therefore, this is not symmetric. But there are some situations where you can have a symmetric matrix for the directed graph also, right? So that's all about this adjacency matrix. And you can observe the third example, which is nothing but G4. You can go for this G4. G4, you don't get confused with this G4 graph, right? What you have understood is, you may be thinking that this particular graph is different from this particular graph, but it is completely a single graph which we represented with G4, right? So in such case, why? Because yesterday when we are discussing about the differences between trees and graphs, I told that trees cannot be disjoint in nature, but graphs can be disjoint in nature. Those are called as unconnected graphs. Therefore, this particular, all these 8 vertices are considered to be the vertices of graph G4. Therefore, vertex set of G4 consists of all the elements 1, 0, 1, 2 and so on up to 7. Therefore, the number of vertices in graph G4 is 7, and hence the adjacency matrix should be represented with a 7 by 7 matrix. This is where a 7 by 7 matrix is. 7 by 7, right? And node vertices should be labeled 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And here also we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a 7 by 7 matrix, right? So you can observe that 0 is having connections to only 1 and 2. Therefore, 1 and 2 are given ones and the remaining elements are 0. Similarly, if you go for 1, it is having connections, direct edges to 0 and 3. Therefore, 0 and 3 is represented with 1 and the remaining elements are represented with zeros. And coming to 2, it is having 0 and 3. 0, 3. Remaining elements are 0. And coming to 3, it has direct edges to 1 and 2. And the remaining elements are 0. Similarly, if you go to 4, 4 is having only a direct edge to 5. Right, this is row 4, 5. Therefore, only one element with one value and the remaining elements are 0. And if you go for 5, only one element, 6. And if you go for 6, only one element, that is to 7. And similarly, if you go to 7, there is only one edge to vertex 6. Therefore, it is represented with 1 and the remaining elements are represented with 0. So this is how we represent an adjacency matrix. We have gone through 3 different examples, one with the directed graph and the other 2 with the undirected graphs, right? Now some of the advantages of adjacency matrix. From the adjacency matrix, one can determine the connection of vertices very easily by looking at the adjacency matrix. Wherever you find the value of 1, you can simply say that that particular graph is having an edge from Vi to Vj. So that is very simple, and that is one of the straightforward merit we have, that is adjacency matrix is used to determine the connection of vertices in a easiest manner. Similarly, for undirected graph, the degree of vertex is sum of columns. It's very simple, and let me go through it. So this is the undirected graph we have. Let me go with G1. This is the undirected graph we have, G1, and the node degree of 0 is 3, right? And the node degree of 1 is 3, 2 is 3, and similarly it is 3. Whenever you want to find the degree of a particular node, you have to take the column sum. This is column. Therefore, whenever you want to find the degree of node 0, you go to column 0. This is column 0. And you add all these elements, 1 plus 1 plus 1, it is 3. Therefore, the node degree is 3. Similarly, here 1 is also the sum of the column elements is 3. We can find that the degree of node 1 is 3. Similarly, for 2, the sum is equal to, the column sum is equal to 3. We can find it from the figure. Similarly, for 3, the column sum is equal to 3. The same is being represented in the graph, right? Let me go for this another example, G4. I want to find the degree of 0. You have to go to the column sum. Therefore, this is the column corresponding to node 0. If you go for column sum, it is equal to 2. Similarly, 1, the column sum is again 2. And for 2, the column sum is 2. And for 3, the column sum is 2. And 4, we have the degree as 1. For 5, we have a degree of 1. And for 6, we have a degree of 2. Sorry, 5 is also having a degree of 2, right? Column sum, okay. And 7, we have a degree of 1, right? So this is first vertex, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and seventh. So this is how we can find the degree of a vertex in an undirected graph in a very easiest fashion, where you have to just calculate the sum of the column elements, right? And for a digraph, this is very important. For a digraph, what you have to do is you have to calculate the in degree and out degree. To calculate the out degree, it is nothing but row sum, and the column sum is equal to the in degree. Let me clear this with this example. For example, to take this directed graph Z2, we have 3 vertices 0, 1, and 2. For this purpose, similarly we have the column row sum also 0, 1, 2. For this purpose, I am saying that the conclusion or the merits of this adjacency matrix discussion says that the row sum is equal to out degree, and the column sum is equal to in degree, right? The row sum is out degree and the column sum is out degree. So if you want to find the out degree of 0, you go for the row sum, which is equal to 1. If you want to find the out degree of 1, the row sum is 2. The row sum or the out degree of 2 is 0, right? You can observe here that 0 is having an out degree of 1, 1 is having an out degree of 2, and 2 is having an out degree of 0. And coming to the in degree, whenever you want to find the in degree, you have to go for the column sum. zeroth column sum is 1. You can observe that the in degree, this is the vertex, this in degree is 1, and you go to this 1 is having an in degree, there is only one edge that is coming from 0, therefore the in degree of 1 is also 1. And coming to the third vertex, that is 2, the in degree is equal to column sum, which is equal to 1. You can observe that one edge is coming from 1 to 2, therefore in degree is 1. Right. So this is how we can easily find out the in degree and out degree of a directed graph in a very easy fashion. Right. So after this, these are the different features of the adjacency matrix. The storage complexity is big O of V square. V is nothing but number of vertices. This is very simple. As I told that an adjacency matrix with n nodes is represented with an n by n matrix. N by n matrix means it requires n square elements. Therefore, it requires n square memory. The same thing is represented here, right? Instead of n, what he is representing it with v. Therefore, if a graph is having v nodes, then it will be represented with v by v matrix, that is v square. Therefore, v square memory is required to store an adjacency matrix. So similarly, if you go for the undirected graph, as I told that the adjacency matrix of an undirected graph is symmetric along the main diagonal. This also we have discussed. Therefore, A transpose of A is equal to, both are equal. A transpose is equal to A. Therefore, if you transpose A, you will get the same matrix, right? And coming to the directed graph, I told that the in degree of X is sum along the column, right? It is equal to big O of V, number of vertices. Here you can observe that there is no concept of edges in adjacency matrix. There are no edges. We never consider these edges. Therefore, whenever you are given a question on this type of adjacency matrix, you can simply eliminate some of the options. For example, if you find any options like big O of V plus E in the adjacency matrix, we have never used the concept of edges in the adjacency matrix, right? Therefore, you can eliminate such type of options. For example, the second option is big O of V plus 2E, or the third option is big O of V plus E square, and the fourth option is big O of V. So you can simply eliminate it. Why? Because we never use the concept of edges in representing the graphs using adjacency matrix. Therefore, this is wrong option, this is wrong option. The only option is can be big O of V. Therefore, here also you can observe the storage complexity is big O of V square. Similarly, for finding the in degree of an element of a node in the directed graph, it is big O of V, and finding the out degree of an element in the directed graph is big O of V. And it is very simple, and it is good for small graphs, right? And it is good for the complete graph. Complete graph means you can have the full elements. Complete means, yesterday we have discussed that a complete graph is a graph where each and every node is having a direct edge to the other edges in the graph. Therefore, if there is a vertex 1, it will have the direct edges to all the n-1 vertices, right? So this happens in the concept of complete graph, and the adjacency matrix is very much useful while representing the complete graphs. But if it is a sparse graph, sparse means, this is a new term, sparse graph and dense graph. Dense graph means we have more number of edges. Whenever we say that we have more edges, we call it as a dense graph. But whenever you call sparse matrix means very less edges, very few number of edges are there. If you have few number of edges, then you have to represent, you have one in very few locations, right? You have one in few locations of the matrix. Very few ones are there. So in order to represent a sparse graph, the adjacency matrix is not at all suitable. Why? Because there is lot of wastage of memory. For example, you take n is equal to 10. Then you have to represent that n is equal to 10 graph, a graph with 10 nodes with a n by n matrix, that is 10 by 10 matrix, that is 100 elements you can store. Total memory occupied is 400 into 4, that is equal to 400 bytes, right? Out of which, assume that we have only 10 edges. Even though it is having 10 nodes, and assume that it is having only 10 edges, therefore how many elements we have as 1? We have only 10 ones. So 10 ones means 10 into 4, only 40 bytes. 10 ones in the sense we have 4, that is 40 bytes. The remaining 360 bytes will be wasted. That's the reason why the adjacency matrix is not at all suitable to represent a sparse graph, right? And the demerits are, many graphs, we discussed at this point, many graphs in practical problems are sparse in nature. Therefore, we don't have edges to all the vertices. So we don't have many edges, not all pairs has these edges. Therefore, it is not suitable. Adjacency matrix is not suitable for sparse graphs. And coming to the next one, matrix representation demands too much memory. Yes, it is true. Yes. In the previous slide, we have seen that for storing a graph with 10 nodes, we need to have a 10 by 10 matrix, that is 100 into 4, that is equal to 400 bytes of memory is there. Consider the case of 100. If you have 100 nodes, then it is equal to 100 into 100, that is nothing but 10,000. 10,000 into 4, that is equal to 40,000 bytes of memory is required. So we have, it demands too much memory, and when we want to reduce the memory footprint, you have to use the concept of sparse matrix, which we have, which is one of the application of linked lists, right? Next, coming to another representation, that is adjacency list. This is how an adjacency list looks like. Let me go with this. So the first example is G1. Here it is G1, right? So how many vertices are there? There are 4 vertices. Vertex set of G1 is equal to 0, 1, 2 and 3. So what you have to do is, how many vertices are there? You have to represent it with a 1D array, which is nothing but one dimensional array. So this is a all one dimensional array, right? The first vertex index is 0, 1, 2 and 3. These are labels of nodes. And for each and every element in the array, what you will do is, you will just form a linked list. So 0 is having a direct edge to 1, similarly direct edge to 2 and direct edge to 3. Therefore, 1, 2 and 3, all these 3 elements are to be linked here like this. So 1 is linked with 2, 2 is linked with 3. It's not mandatory that you should always go in the ascending order. You can write in any order also, right? It is simply, it is used to represent what are all the adjacent vertices to 0. The adjacent vertices to 0 are 1, 2 and 3. Somebody will say that the adjacent vertices of 0 are, you will go in this direction, 3, 2 and 1. Or somebody will say that the adjacent vertices of 0 are 2, 1 and then 3. Not an issue, right? So there is no need that you have to write it in the ascending order like this only. You can write it in any order. Similarly, if you go to vertex 1, what happens? It is having 2 edges. Vertex 1 is having 2 edges to 0 and 2. Therefore, only 2 nodes are there. One node is to store the element 0 and the other node is to store the element 2, and they are linked with this linked list. As you know that the last node is always having a value of null, right? Similarly, the second node, the vertex 2 is having direct links to 0, 1 and 3. Therefore, 3 nodes are there. And 3, it is having only 2 edges, therefore only 2 nodes in the linked list, that is 0 and 2, right? And coming to the concept of this example G3, which is a directed graph. Now we are clear with the undirected graph, how to represent an undirected graph using linked list or adjacency list. And now we'll go for directed graphs. So similar thing, you have to represent, you have to take an one dimensional array of size equal to n. Here n is equal to 3. Therefore, you take a vertex or you take an array of size 1. And you can observe that 0 is linked to 1, this one. Therefore, we have only one node that represents 1. Similarly, if you take 1, it is having two outgoing edges, right? One is 0 and the other edge is towards 2. Therefore, we represent it with two nodes, 0 and 2. And the last node, it does not have any outgoing edges. If it does not have any outgoing edges, there is the list itself is a null. Therefore, this is an empty list. Very simple thing, right? So this is how we represent a directed graph. Similarly, for this graph also, since it consists of this G4, since it consists of 7-8 elements, you have to take a 1D array of size 8. After that, you just go on through these graphs and then you have to represent the nodes which are adjacent to 0. Similarly, the same case should be continued for each and every node, right? For example, 4, we have only one edge towards 5. Therefore, only one node is present here, right? Like that, you have to continue. And coming to the interesting operations, the degree of a vertex. How do you find the degree of a vertex in an undirected graph, right? It is nothing but the number of nodes in the adjacency list. For example, if you take this same graphs, G1, if you want to find G1, go for G1, and if you want to find the degree of this vertex 0, what you will do, you just count the number of nodes that are linked to 0. We have 3 nodes that are linked to 0, that is 1, 2 and 3. Therefore, the degree of 0 is 3. Similarly, if you go for 1, you want to find the degree of node 1. Therefore, you just go to that node element 1 and then you count the number of nodes that are linked to this one. We have 2. Therefore, the degree of 1 is 2. Similarly, you go for 2. The number of nodes are 3. Therefore, the degree of 2 is 3. And for 3, we have only 2 nodes. And therefore, the degree of 3 is 2. Right? And now coming to the directed graph. This is very important. So the number, this is, hash is nothing but number, right? Number of nodes in the adjacency list. Similarly, these two are for the directed graph. So for a directed graph, we have two terms, that is out degree and in degree. So the out degree of a vertex in a directed graph is the number of nodes in its adjacency list. Therefore, out degree is direct point where you have to count the number of nodes and that gives the out degree. But what about the in degree of a vertex in the directed graph? You have to traverse the whole data structure to find the in degree. This is somewhat complex in nature. So you have to traverse all the nodes or all the adjacency list. For example, if you go to the previous one, the out degree of 1, the out degree of 0 is you count the number of nodes. We have only one node. Therefore, the out degree of 0 is 1. Right. Similarly, the out degree of 1 is we have 2 nodes. Therefore, the out degree of 1 is 2. And the out degree of 2 is it does not have any nodes. Therefore, the out degree of 2 is 0. Now, coming to the concept of in degree, which is very important. If you want to find the in degree of the given vertex, then you have to traverse the entire list. The entire list you have to go. First you have to go for 0 and you have to traverse the linked list of 0. Here you don't find any 0. Therefore leave it. Next you go for this 1 and you go through this linked list of 1. Here we have 1, 0. Right. Here we have only 1, 0. Therefore the out, and for 2 again go for 2, there is no linked list. Therefore the total count that is obtained for 0 is 1. Therefore, the in degree of 0 is 1. Right. Now let me calculate the in degree of 1. So again you start with 0. Remember that you have to always start with 0 and you go to the linked list of 0. That is, we have the element 1 as a 1 node. Therefore, count is equal to, right now it is 1. Now you go to the next element, that is 1, and you find the linked list of this 1, which is nothing but 0 and 2. We don't have any 1, therefore it remains the same. And you go for to the next element 2, which does not have any nodes. Therefore, the final count after processing this end of the element is 1. Therefore, the in degree of 1 is 1. You can find it here, right? The in degree is this one. And similarly, if you want to find 2, so you start with 0. The linked list of 0 does not have any. You start the counter with 0. Therefore, the linked list of 0 does not have any node value 2. And then you have to go for node 1. You traverse the linked list and check whether the linked list consists of a node 2 or not. Here we have. Therefore, you increment the count to 1. And after that, you go for this one. Second element, that is index 2 or node 2. Here we don't have any linked list. Therefore, the final count is 1. You can observe that the in degree of 2 is also 1, this much, right? So this is how we calculate the out degree and in degree. Out degree is very easy. You just have to go to that particular node or index, and then you have to count the number of nodes that are present in the linked list. But in degree is somewhat complex in nature. In every process, if you want to find the in degree of a vertex, you have to start from the starting index and you have to traverse the linked list of that particular node. And similarly, you have to traverse the entire linked list. That means you have to process the entire linked list and you have to count the number of nodes in the entire linked list, and that count, the final count, will be the in degree of that particular vertex, right? It is somewhat complex in nature. This is what he is discussing, right? You have to traverse the whole data structure. But out degree is simply the number of nodes in its adjacency list, right? Now coming to the storage complexity, we have big O of V plus E. This is important, right? So in adjacency matrices, we never come across the concept of E. It is always big O of V square, storage complexity. But here you are storing the vertices as well as the edges also. Therefore, it is equal to big O of V plus E. Similarly, if it is an undirected graph, the concept remains the same, which is big O of V plus E only. See here, for calculating node degree of node X, the out degree is nothing but the number of nodes in that particular linked list to the corresponding node. Therefore, it is equal to big O of V, right? This is nothing but length of adjacent matrix or adjacent list of X. But if you want to calculate the in degree, you have to check the matrix 1D array first. You have to traverse the 1D array first, which is nothing but the number of vertices, right, which is nothing but big O of V. And then you have to traverse each and every linked list of vertex, which is nothing but number of edges. Therefore, it becomes big O of V plus E. This is very important, where you may be asked a question like, what is the time complexity of finding the in degree of a directed graph, right? So it is big O of V plus E. And if you go for the concept of out degree, finding the out degree of a given directed graph, it is equal to big O of V.